First of all, congratulations on Mesh. It is a fantastic album. I've been listening to it for a while now, since I got it, and it really caught my attention. For the band, uh, what inspired this album, first of all?
Um, so I think it's the same as always for us. It's just general stuff. I mean, we finished the previous album and did quite a lot of touring for it. So we started writing maybe 2 years ago now, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, and we just take it as it comes. Matt comes up with basically guitar riffs, and we just lock ourselves away in our sort of practice studio and just take a song at a time and just sort of let the direction uh, take its own course.
Uh, for the writing process, does the band write the songs together, or does each person write separately?
Usually, for the majority of the songs, it's Matt. So he brings the first ideas, which is usually like a guitar riff or two and a vocal melody. And then we just jam all of us together um, to structure the song and see if, I sort of pull in one direction, Katie on the drums pulls in another direction. We sort of find each other in the middle somewhere, and the songs usually take their own life at a given point, and we just carry on jamming until it gets to that point. Um, Sometimes if we don't get somewhere quickly, we might put the song aside for a while and work on something different, and then come back a few months later with fresh ears. And we don't usually have too many songs that get left by the wayside. Um, in fact, maybe never. Like we always seem to find a way of taking the song where we want it to go in time for the studio, which is when like all the finishing touches get done.
Mhm. This album in particular has a quite a flow to it. It seems like every song has something unique about it. Is there a song that you think stood out to you, or that you are most proud of on this album?
Yeah, the last song, "The Beholder," for me, it's like it was one of the first songs we wrote, but we kept coming back to it. It started off as almost a 20-minute jam with four or five different parts that were all interlinked. And then we sort of, as the song sort of progressed, it actually got shorter and shorter and sort of condensed. And I think for me, that's the most powerful song with the vocal melodies at the end, which seemed to sort of took it to a new level. Because when we were writing it, the vocal melodies at the end weren't really there. They were just sort of a bit of an idea. And yeah, so that was like one of the finishing touches that really helped bring the song to life. Um, but the flowingness of this album is almost like deliberate, because the theme of the album is mesh, so like everything that's intertwined, interlinked. Um, and from an early point on, maybe after the third or fourth song, we already decided that that was the theme of the album, and that every step we took from that point onwards, in the back of our minds, there was this web kind of idea going around. And so if you listen to the album from start to finish, you can always put it on back at the start, and it just goes round and round, and or you can like put it on shuffle, and it still seems to make sense somehow.
Definitely. And for me, my favorite song off this album is Mad Hatters. It's The Beholder is very powerful, but I feel like Mad Hatters has an intensity of its own. What's the story behind Mad Hatters?
Yeah, Mad Hatters is probably the most original song on the album. It's got something probably that we've never done before somehow. I can't remember. It's in a strange time signature, but it seems to be, it flows. It's got this kind of almost pop chorus, um, and then the heavy riff at the end, which is kind of almost like a loop that goes around. Um, but that's a typical Lizzard song in that it was worked and reworked, but the original ideas are not really in there anymore. So that the original guitar riff has been changed and the vocal melody evolved. So what we do is we record all of our practices and listen back, and everyone takes the recordings home and listens, and then we each bring new ideas. And Mad Hatters, I think, was probably the one that changed the most from start to finish. Um, yeah, so I can't. I think the bass line uh, probably came along quite late on, and it sort of managed to gel the guitar with the drums somehow. And yeah, I think that's also one of the songs I'm most happy with on the album.
Yeah, that was that's my favorite song off that album of this album. As you prepare for what I'm hoping would be a tour for this album, what are you hoping to bring to the stage with this? Because each song is quite intense, and it seems very like a very difficult album to be touring with.
Yeah, what our usual live performances are like, we usually like start off quite heavy, and then there's a kind of chill out section in the middle, and then it builds up to another sort of heavy end. Um, we might change that for this album because what we've already started working on the live set, and trying to integrate the new songs with the old is a bit of a challenge. I mean, it's easy just to pick like the best songs off each album and stick them all together, but it doesn't work like that for live anyway. Um, we have to It has to be a coherent kind of path that you take people down, and the interludes and changes have to be like fluid somehow, and not stop start, or at the same time you've got to have ups and downs in the set to for like energy levels and all of that. So we're still working on it, but it's quite exciting to be able to have a new approach and to like rethink the kind of format of our live show.
Uh,
So yeah, because we're going back on tour in November, December in Europe.
um, and what keeps the band so high energy? All these songs that are, exude energy. What keeps the band, going in that direction?
I think for all three of us, when we're playing songs live, it has to be almost like a physical challenge to us. For the drums, it's obviously a very physical exercise, but for Matt playing and singing at the same time, he really doesn't like playing easy stuff. He probably would get bored, you know. So it's got to be a challenge either rhythmically, or the vocals have to like push him. And for me on bass, it's the same. I like to have to almost concentrate on something, whether it's groove or power or the sound or just delivering the bass lines. So I would get bored if I was playing simple stuff. So at the same time, we don't like to make things complicated for the sake of it. You know, it's got to make musical sense. So that's why I think we're quite slow with our writing process, just trying to take things in a natural direction, but also are going to provide us with some challenge live, because we find that the harder it is to play, when you pull it off, that's where the energy levels are really interesting, and the audience can really feel the live performance.
Mhm.
A bit like Rage Against the Machine were they had all this power in their playing, and it wasn't always complicated stuff, but it was always a challenge to pull off the songs. And I think we're a bit like that. We need to be able to push ourselves, to deliver something that people are going to remember, other than just playing the songs as they are on the album.
Definitely. And Lizzard has been around for a while, and I feel like every album is a step forward for you guys. You guys keep on evolving your sound. Um, how comfortable are you guys with each other now that you've been around for a while and you played with each other for a while?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're more family than friends, so it's like we have disagreements like artistically and stuff like that, but it's we've done it so many times that we trust each other. You know that even if we don't agree, um, it's actually really cool that there's three people because there's always like a majority vote happening. And because we've done, yes, 5 albums now, it's like we trust each other that we know that the outcome is going to be something we're all comfortable with. And and because we like to play these songs live, then they have to be something that we're going to enjoy playing. So there's almost at the start there's like a zero compromise thing from each perspective, and then eventually we find a middle ground that everyone's comfortable with. And but outside of music, yeah, it's more like a family than a friendship thing going on.
Definitely. Well, congratulations on this album. It's a fantastic listen.
Thanks.
And thank you very much for your time.
Well, thanks for the interview, man.